Hi, this is my first live. I don't really know for sure what I'm doing, but I haven't been on for a while, and I wanted to come on and request your request some prayers for my great niece. Um, Once again, she's been flown to Denver and had shunt revision surgery, and um, things are not very good. Um, uh, I'll kind of go back and give you a little background on her story. My sister-in-law has neurofibromatosis, NF1. And for those of you that don't know what that is, um, it's a genetic disease where um, there's several different things that can happen. My sister-in-law, she develops um, what look like moles um, where her nerve endings are at the surface of the skin. Um, she doesn't have many on her face, but she has quite a few on her body. Um, and each of her kids, my brother's three kids, he's got, oh my, come on. There we go. He's got a son from a previous marriage, but they have three children together. Hello, Darlene. Anyway, uh, my brother and sister-in-law have three children together, and the oldest daughter, um, she, her daughter is Peytyn, the one that's in Denver right now. Um, anyway, each of their three children have NF1 also, but very mild. They each have cafe au lait spots. My nephew, the middle of the three, he had one large patch on his arm that he recently had removed, and they had to do a skin graft to cover. But my niece, when she was a young child, she had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which had nothing to do with the NF. But so she struggled a lot as a young child, and believed she could never have children. Well, lo and behold, along came Peytyn, and her husband were ecstatic. And when Peytyn was about, I believe, 3, they were at a holiday party, and hi, Melanie. Um, anyway, Peytyn fell down the stairs, and they took her to the hospital, and they did a CT scan or an MRI, and she was fine from this fall, but they discovered she had gliomas on her optic nerves, and that was from the NF. That was clear diagnosis of NF1 for Peytyn. She was put on chemotherapy at 3 years old. She remained on chemotherapy for many years. um, and neurofibromatosis one. Um, anyway, so here a few years ago, or a couple of years ago, um, they noticed some neurological deficits with Peytyn, and did some more scans, and she had a tumor on her hypothalamus. And so they changed her chemotherapy, and she ended up with a brain bleed from the tumor. And so they had to stop the chemotherapy. She ended up with 2 strokes and a heart attack. They found out she also had a heart problem, which they believed she'd grow out of. They had to put in a shunt in her brain to drain this CF fluid, because the tumor, um, it stops the CF fluid from draining from her brain. And so since that time, they haven't been able to do the chemotherapy for the tumor that's in the hypothalamus. Um, and they've had to take her in several times for revision of the shunt, because it gets clogged, and then the CF fluid builds up and causes pressure on the brain. And each time that happens, then she's life flighted to Denver, and she was life flighted down again here recently, and it's every time it's just more and more devastating. And my niece got some pretty disturbing news yesterday, which I can't really share, but I did get a call from my brother. He's pretty upset, and so is the rest of the family. So, you know, they did radiation on the tumor, and it's stable right now, but the shunt is the issue. And with the last revision they did, it caused some more damage, and right now her short-term memory is a little off, but you know, that's not a huge issue. The problems with the pressure on the brain, she has no appetite, so she doesn't eat. She's way underweight. She was the last trip down, she was going into shock from malnourishment. You know, it's pretty bad. You know, I'm just beside myself. I don't know. You know, it's very difficult to be my normal, happy, jolly self. I tend to, you know, just isolate. I've been spending a lot of time in my craft room, where I'm at right now, my mess of a craft room. Kind of takes my mind off of things. And that's one of the things my niece really enjoys. One of the things that I made for her, whoops, that I need to make more of, is this little purse, and it's for note cards. Make little note cards and little envelopes to go with it. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Anyway, she's all out of note cards, so I need to make her some more note cards. I don't I don't care what she does with them. You know, she's the sweetest little girl. She has never in her life met a stranger. Um, you know, everybody that she meets, she makes friends with instantly. Um, just just a shining star. And this one is Maja. He's my harlequin. He's my blood sugar dog. The other one is Ura. So he's the older one. He's 5. So he's, which is, you know, pretty good age. They only live from average of 6 to 9 years. So he's a Great Dane. Maja, Mauja. It's it's Inuit for soft, deep snow. And then this one, he's my mantle, and his name is Ura, which is Inuit for beautiful. And um his full name is Ura, son of Thor. His father's name is Thor, and I thought that was kind of fitting to be Ura, Ura, son of Thor, or beautiful son of Thor. Um, Maja's full name is Maja Big Spring Blue, because his eyes are blue, like um, the big spring in Lewistown is the same color of blue. Anyway, my first Great Dane was Moosh, which it was him that was, or Ura that was squeaking at first. They take turns with it. Anyway, Moosh was my first Great Dane, and Moosh was Inuit for twig. So that's where the Inuit came in, and so I just kind of stuck with Inuit names. But anyway, so, Ura, you can't take me anywhere. Ura, you gotta let go. Ura thinks if he takes a hold of my hand, he can lead me anywhere. Let go. So, you can't take me. You can't take me. No. Ugh. Now they're wound up. They get this way when I'm on the phone with my husband too. So they think I'm talking to somebody on the phone, which I am, I guess. But anyway, but you know, there's more to the story with my niece, because my other niece, my younger one, because there's my niece, my nephew, and then my niece's younger sister. She has 2 children, a girl and a boy. They both have NF1. The girl that's older, she has moya moya, which is where the blood vessels in the brain, instead of going like normal blood vessels do, you know, just branching out normally, they just go crazy. And so the blood doesn't travel right through the brain. So she's had 2 bypasses in her brain. Um, and hers is stable, doing good. She should do fine. She's got to go in every 6 months for scans to make sure that everything's okay. And her son, he also has a tumor on his optic nerve. So he has chemotherapy for that, and they're watching for any other tumors. So it's like I'm so blessed. Both of my children and all three of my grandchildren are so healthy. And my sister and her children are all very, very healthy. And then my brother, his oldest son, has a challenge, mental illness, um, caused by excessive marijuana use as a teenager before his brain was fully developed. Um, and then all three of his children have NF1, or his younger children, and all three of his grandchildren have NF1 and some major health concerns. It's like you have to ask yourself, how can I be so blessed? And what did my brother do? My brother and his wife, they're really good people, very good people. Um, to have so many challenges, I just don't know. I just, I don't know. My hubby's coming up tonight. Um, I'm going to do his taxes, but I'm glad he's coming up tonight so that I can spend some time with him. Um, talk through some of this. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Yeah, it's it's been a pretty rough time. So, but I suppose I hear Yura is trying to get to the toilet to get a drink, so I better. Oh, thank you, darling. I Peytyn needs all the prayers she can get. She really does. I'm hoping that what my niece was told yesterday, she didn't quite hear right. Um, that she was upset. Thank you, Melanie. Um, and she misunderstood what the doctors were saying, because you can't give up on an 11-year-old, 11, 12-year-old. You can't, you know. Um, she's been struggling for 9 years. She's been fighting. She's a little fighter, and you can't just say, okay, we've done all we can, we're not going to do anything more. So anyway, well, I'm going to get off of here and go get my baby some water before he thinks he's going to starve to death. And thank you for joining me on my first ever live. And I'll see you another night. Good night, guys.